Okay, so let's talk about eating routine now. Eating routine for Vata Dosha, this is the easiest routine too. So really what we're starting to do is thinking about cleaning our life up a little bit and cleaning up some of our habits a little bit. And it's a real slow 28-day process. Critical success factor to Vata digestion is routine again. Vatas are to eat 3 or 4 meals a day, and Vatas are allowed to snack. Snacking should have 2 hours between it. So between any food event is 2 hours. So if breakfast is at 8, then at 10 you could have a snack, and then at noon you would have lunch, and then at 2 you could have a snack. So always keeping that 2-hour window. Breakfast really is not to be eaten for anybody beyond the hour of 8 a.m. And dinner should be taken not within 3 hours of bedtime. So if you know you're going to go to bed in an hour, that would be a bad time to have dinner, right? 2 hours, I mean, we could argue about that a little bit, but try to just set the goal that, within 2 or 3 hours from bedtime, no dinner. Lunch is your biggest meal. Vatas are allowed to eat meat. So if you are going to eat meat, please eat it at lunch when the digestive fire is the highest. When I say Vatas are allowed to eat meat, it means you're still limited to 3 to 5 servings of meat a week. The meat is the size of the palm. That's a serving. And when I say meat, I'm only talking about poultry and fish and eggs. So red meat is not considered meat in Ayurveda. If you could get a really high quality beef that's been done all the right way, it would be okay Ayurvedically, but it's much easier to find the organic chickens and poultries. And the other thing with beef is it's just quite harder to digest. So you do work harder digesting beef, and we're trying to, really work with a delicate digestion. So let's just do chicken and fish and poultry and just kind of leave it at that. All of your food is to be warm, and it is to be cooked, and it should be moist. Raw foods are really hard on delicate Vata digestion. If you're eating salads, we're going to bring them to room temperature, and we're going to put lots of oil and nuts and things on them to ground the salad. But salad is really the only exception. Otherwise, everything's cooked. Vata loves one-pot meals. So what happens is the food gets a chance to fight it out on the stove, and then once it gets in there, it's really easy to digest. So when you think of food that Vata loves, think about the crock pot meals, the rice mixes, grains, lots of grains mixed in with vegetables, mixed in with the spice. And Vata thrives on that. So if this person who does not have a very good routine has a big pot of something in the fridge, they will eat it, versus if there's nothing in the fridge, they won't eat kind of situation. Yeah, so we're going to do some recipe exploring. You're going to favor foods in the following order, and this is important. Vata gets most of its nutrition from whole grains, and the emails will talk about the best whole grains for Vata. But for now, just know if you're choosing the barleys and the rices and the quinoas, you're making a really good choice. So when you look down at your plate, you should have most whole grains on it, okay? Cooked vegetables should be eaten next. Vegetables aggravate Vata a little bit because they're bitter and astringent. That's why you have to cook them. You have to cook them so they're easy to digest. You can put oil on them, you can put some salt on them, and you can use ghee as well, which is clarified butter. And that'll make you really, really like your vegetables. You can eat beans, so that's third on the list. Vata has delicate digestion, so eat only beans that cook in less than 30 minutes. So if you have to soak them overnight, they're too hard on Vata digestion. So if you can grab a bean out of the bag and cook it in less than 30 minutes without soaking, that is an easy to digest bean. And those are the split beans, the peas, the dal, the lentils. So stay focused on that family. And then you can obviously eat nuts, seeds, honeys, oils, and you're going to just spice your food to taste. So Vata can take some spice, Vata can take some salt. And a lot of Vatas really like spicy food, pungent food. So play with spice. And then we're going minimum on meat, and we're going minimum on dairy, but you can eat dairy. So Vatas actually thrive, some of them, on dairy. Know how your belly feels, though, because a lot of Vatas with delicate digestion are lactose intolerant. So if you know you drink a glass of milk, it makes you feel bad, obviously you have a sensitivity. But if it doesn't, that's a wonderful treat for you. In Ayurveda, we never drink milk with a meal, and milk actually in and of itself is its own meal, and milk is always taken heated. And if you put a little saffron and cardamom in with the milk, you'll find it's much easier to digest. So you're good to go on dairy. And we're going to avoid all just iced beverages. So anything cold, because Vada's already cold, right? So doesn't this seem pretty easy? You know, with the exception of we are looking at caffeine, we are looking at alcohol. Obviously, we're looking at processed foods because we're buying everything organic and whole, and we're cooking more, right? But meat is okay, dairy is okay. When you look at caffeine, I'd like you to get down to 1 cup a day, which isn't so bad, and we want to drink it after we use the bathroom. So set that intention. If you have a caffeine habit, start reducing by 1/3, and we'll talk about that in the PDFs. Alcohol, we want to limit to 2 to 3 servings a week, and Vata does best on wine, red wines in particular. So if you're beer or hard liquor, make the shift to wine. And the 2 to 3 servings should not be drank in one evening. Okay? So that's something you actually want to spread out, you know, over the course of your week. Vata has the most addictive personality. So know when you're headed into that habit, and know when that habit, you know, if we start to struggle getting off of that habit, you know, please email me or get in touch with me. If you're smoking, I don't know if there's any smokers in the group, but you get in the email a methodologies to quit smoking. Smoking is probably the worst thing Vata can do because it's so ungrounding for them. Okay, pretty easy, huh? Yeah, good. So any questions about eating at all? Yeah, so we're just going to make it super sweet, super simple, and start to cultivate awareness around, you know, things that maybe are interfering with our digestion a little bit. That's delicate. Okay, anything? Like green tea. Green tea's perfect. If it's caffeinated, you know, caffeinated tea has a very marginal amount of caffeine in it. Compared to coffee. But, you know, if you're drinking 2 or 3 cups of green tea, that's probably a lot. And you can buy decaf versions of green tea. So I would just kind of start to make the switch. You know, think about when you drink too much coffee, that bzzz, yeah, it goes right to, it makes Vata zip. Yeah, and it ungrounds you and it interferes with digestion. So 1 cup of coffee a day is moderation. You know, and that's just good health. If you're drinking more than that, you know, you're going to put on weight, you're going to feel ungrounded, your digestion's going to get really sluggish, and then we're just going down that road of imbalance, right? Yeah.